In July 2025, the European Union and China are set to meet in a high-stakes summit that could mark a significant shift in global alliances. This meeting isn't just about resolving a trade spat over electric vehicles. It represents a broader rebalancing of power and partnership in a world increasingly defined by tensions between the United States and China. The EU and China are currently negotiating the replacement of high European tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles with a minimum price mechanism. This proposal, supported by German automakers such as Volkswagen, BMW, and Mercedes, who rely heavily on the Chinese market, would regulate EV import pricing rather than block them outright. The aim is to prevent a trade war and stabilize the flow of goods between two major economies. This move is partially a response to US President Donald Trump's renewed tariff policies. Since his 2024 re-election, Trump has imposed aggressive tariffs on China and extended them to traditional allies, including the EU. These tariffs have hurt European industries, particularly in steel, aluminum, and autos, and triggered retaliation from China in the form of duties on luxury goods like French wine and cognac. EU leaders, under pressure from both domestic industries and volatile US policy, are looking for alternatives. China, positioning itself as a more predictable partner, has offered expanded trade cooperation and economic stability. The July summit is expected to include tangible trade adjustments and symbolic commitments to ongoing engagement. Beyond trade, the geopolitical consequences of the summit are even more striking. Trump has shocked European leaders by opening direct negotiations with Russia on Ukraine.
Russia might be going, okay, you're going to be finding out pretty soon. There's a point at which you just have to either put up or shut up and we'll see what happens. But
excluding the EU entirely. This sidelining has sparked serious doubts about America's reliability as a security partner. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, fresh off an election win, declared that NATO may soon be dead and called for European defence independence, including exploring a nuclear security framework with France and the UK. French President Emmanuel Macron's long-advocated vision of strategic autonomy is gaining traction. For the first time, major EU powers are seriously questioning the transatlantic defence arrangement. While Eastern European nations still see NATO and the US as essential, a growing core within the EU seeks to build a more self-sufficient security identity. China has recognized this rift and is exploiting it. Chinese officials consistently emphasize support for EU unity and multilateralism while subtly offering themselves as partners in opposition to US unilateralism. China is not overtly asking the EU to choose sides. Instead, it is offering an alternative model, one based on mutual economic benefit, non-interference, and shared opposition to American tariffs and protectionism. President Xi Jinping has repeatedly framed the EU as a key pillar in a multipolar world and has called for joint resistance against US bullying. Trade is central to China's offer. The EU is China's largest trading partner, and China is Europe's biggest source of imports. As Trump's protectionist stance hardens, China's relatively open trade posture becomes more attractive. Recent Chinese overtures include reopening talks on stalled EU-China investment agreements, investing in European infrastructure, and supporting climate change collaboration. However, this isn't without complications. Europe remains deeply wary of China's authoritarian governance and close ties to Russia. Allegations that Chinese fighters were captured in Ukraine fighting for Russian forces have strained Beijing's credibility. Thus, while trade may flourish, full political alignment is unlikely.